Good evening, everyone. Good evening. First of all, it is an honor to close out the series of pre conference preparation. I don't know about y'all, but I got some gems. So, major shout out to every speaker, facilitator who prepared us for this conference. So, whether you're a seasoned conference goer or you're new and it's your first time, or you had a career break and you're coming back into the workforce, I know that I left with some gems, and I would say I'm definitely a seasoned conference goer. So, with that being said, my name is Dejanay Robinson. I am a professional keynote speaker. What I'm known for is helping leaders spark courageous conversations through interactive keynotes and workshops. It is an honor to be here. Thank you to the Diversitech team for your hard work behind the scene. As someone who knows what it's like to plan conferences, you have to be strong and mighty. So, thank you all for your support and your commitment to the greater all vision, purpose, and mission for our community and our allies. So, I thank you. So, we're going to just jump right into it because I know it's late. And if you like me, I'm flying out early tomorrow. And your girl likes her beauty rest. So, I'm going to share my screen. The conference aftermath, leveraging follow-ups to solidify your next opportunity. And I'm multitasking off of another screen so that I can see the amazing comments from everyone. And I want us to understand that you have to just relax for a second. We talked about a lot. We got a lot of networking skills. We got a lot of opportunities to pitch ourselves, tools to use. But now we're going to talk about how we secure that bag. How do we actually miss opportunities because we don't follow up? But first and foremost, look here. I need you to drop in the chat. You let me know what is your favorite 90s sitcom television show. And if yours is not on here, don't worry about it. You can still add yours in the chat. For me, it was kind of all of them, but I'm going to say The Parkers. Hey, Professor Ogilvy. Yeah, she wasn't playing. So The Parkers to me was the best. Why? Because of the relationship of a mother and daughter. And it became the best when I started to, when I got my master's degree. And my mom, she actually went back to school and received her, I believe it was bachelor's degree or she was an LVN and she got her RN license. And we were actually in school matriculating at the same time. So for me, it reminded me of The Parkers. I see Miss Lovetta, Miss Hill, Martin. Absolutely. Martin is a good one. And A Different World was a part of my HBCU experience. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Okay. Part of my HBCU experience was learning what A Different World was because I was on the homecoming planning committee, and it allowed me to, once again, learn about our culture and our community. Currently watching A Different World, living single, definitely. Yes, Miss J. Marie, I cannot wait to see you in Philly. That is my sister from being a style editor, brand ambassador for Express, and now we're tech besties. So I want to set the scene up to let everyone know that all of us are having different lived experiences when we attend conferences, which means you may be a seasoned professional, you may be new, but just know everybody's in this space for the same thing, which is opportunities, networking, a psychologically safe space. So when you're navigating this space, I want you to give yourself grace. I want you to be open and willing to connect with people that you do not know. These conferences, networking events, happy hours, they are designed for you to approach someone out of thin air and not have nothing to say except, "Hi, my name is Dejanay Robinson. I love your brooch. Can you tell me more about where you got it from?" I'm a color connoisseur. I love colors. I love suits. So actually, part of my marketing strategy and my brand is to wear bright, bold colors because it breaks the ice. So when you're navigating these conversations in Philadelphia, give yourself grace and know you're not the only one there for the same mission. My daughter is currently at Spelman. Shout out to the HBCU grads on this call. So before we dive into the follow-ups, I want you to simply understand, if we all operate under the same academia of knowledge, networking is simply building a network for potential opportunities. Building a network for potential opportunities with individuals within your field, or as Issa Rae would say, you got to connect with the people to the left and to the right of you. Some of my best connections have actually not been with C-suite level executives. Some of my best booked opportunities have not been because I connected with a CEO, but because I connected with somebody standing in a line with me, waiting on their headshot. So you just have to build that network for potential opportunities. So before we dive into the power in the follow-up, we have to start with active networking, and then we're going to move into deepening connections. True networking isn't just about making connections, but it's about nurturing them for meaningful and lasting opportunities. Yes, just confirmed my outfit options for the rest of the week. Miss Harper, I see you. I've been packed for at least 2 weeks now. Don't judge me. It's therapeutic for me to pack early. So when you're networking, part of starting with active networking, it actually will then be included in your follow-up. So everybody lock in. Say lock in. Okay, lock in. Active listening. You have to show genuine interest in the person that you're speaking to about their work, interests, and experiences. For me, the way that my brain remembers things, the way that my brain operates, 60% of the conversation that I have is from genuine interest versus 100% business. I don't know what God did when he created this brain, but if I'm always talking so professionally and I'm thinking about messing up or stumbling, my brain won't retain that information. So 60% of my conversation is going to be about everything except the reason why we are here. Then you want to listen actively. Pay close attention to what others are saying because you can build good rapport and find common ground. This is where you begin to use the information you learn in these stages in your follow-up email, which we will dive into, which is the bulk of this conversation. But when you're deepening the connection, you want to look for shared interests or experiences to build a stronger connection, whether that's a shared interest in sports, shared interest in your 5 to 9 job, a shared interest in swag and style, or a shared interest in the country that you're coming from and where who you're representing. You have to find that shared interest. Receive their contact information. This is where you get out of the passenger seat and you get in the driver's seat and you take lead to drive the conversation and you drive the follow-up. Lock in. I see you, Miss Hill. We're locked in. This is why I tell you to receive their contact information. Why are you waiting for someone else to give you a blessing? Well, I'm going to let that. Okay. I'll say that one more time. Why are you waiting for someone else to have control over your blessing, over your next opportunity? So get their contact information. Ask them, what is the best way to get in contact with them? If you are a candidate and you are speaking to a recruiter or hiring manager, oftentimes they ask you to scan a QR code because they need you in their pipeline, in their database. Oh, but I challenge you with love. I challenge you with love to ask for someone's email and someone's contact information. Here's the why. When the buzz fades off, we've all posted our recaps. We all have these amazing, beautiful, articulated recap posts of a conference that we've attended, and then everything kind of fades. What's next? Whose information did you receive? Whose information, whose email, whose social media handle, whether it be LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikToks, whose contact information did you receive? The follow-up cycle is what I call it. It's never ending. It's reoccurring. So increasing your followers on LinkedIn or social media by itself, it does not translate to genuine connections It doesn't translate to booked opportunities. What it does is when you include, we just increased our followers, and now I'm following up and then I'm maintaining, it creates the opportunity to build genuine connections over time. When you build good rapport with folks at conferences, it extends far past the initial interest. A message. Thank you, Miss Hill. So true. I'm learning to make solid connections and not let follow up go stale. Because how many of us, raise your hand in the chat or drop an emoji, you say it was great connecting with you, and then you don't see them again until the next year at the same conference? How many of us have been there? I'm talking about myself too, because I've been there. We do the amazing connections, and it was great connecting with you. Let's have a coffee chat. Then you never schedule the coffee chat. You miss out on an opportunity, right? So follow up. Get out of the passenger side. We're not on the passenger side anymore. I need everybody to lock in. Ready? Everybody say lock in. This is where your opportunity is coming in. This is where your next speaking event is coming from. This is where your next client is coming in the follow up. Take lead. Let's drive, and it's fast and the furious time. So when you send a follow-up message, I want you to reach out after the event to continue the conversation. Express gratitude for their time and propose next steps and or meetings. A lot of the speakers prior to me have already touched base on that. So wouldn't you kind of believe that there is value in the follow-up step? I'm multitasking. I'm looking at the comments. Brenna Lee said, it's me. I'm the problem. You're not the problem. We just have a lot of solutions here. So once you reach out after the first event, first networking mixer, you want to personalize your message. So I'm bringing you back around to active networking, active listening, because when you personalize the message, it shows the person that who you've connected with, that you were paying attention, right? A lot of genuine follow-ups, genuine connections aren't transactional. But hear me very clearly. Honor those who just want to be a connector. There are some individuals that you want that will connect you, and then they don't want to be in the mix anymore, right? So that's why active listening is important. Miss Ray said, step out of your comfort zone. Miss Velma, lock in. Bernie Lee's, how soon after? I got you, girl. I have some tangible tips throughout this presentation that I will provide for you. So once we send up a follow-up message, the next slides, I'm going to show you tangible conversations that I've had via email with individuals. I've blacked out their name, not because I'm a gatekeeper, but I am respecting the relationship I've built with them, but also giving you tangible email examples of conversations that I've had with folks from past conferences. So I'll take a pause here to let you all know the last conference that I went to, I left with 56 leads following this strategy. This is a method that my Lord and Savior gave me. So I have actually put this in practice, and it works. It worked for me and my personality. I want you to take the tools and the strategies and the examples I'm about to provide to you live. So get your pen and paper ready. And I want you to tailor it to your characteristics, your personality, and your approach. I'm just telling you what worked for me. So the next slide I'm going to show you is this individual I met. And I said, hey, it was great connecting with you at such and such booth. So you want to include where you've connected with them at. Was it at the happy hour? Was it at the VIP mixer? Was it at the booth? Here's why. You are not the only person that somebody is communicating with. You are not the only candidate that they're having conversations with. You have to remind individuals where you met them. And then immediately in that first line, I truly appreciate your transparency and authenticity, because me and Josh, we had a very honest conversation. So then I put something that was relatable. We are both transparent. We were both authentic. So you have to put that relatability. So then I went immediately to the task. Here's why. Sometimes, depending on who you're speaking with, you have to get to this is what we talked about, because some people don't have the bandwidth or the capacity to reread a long email. Y'all, we was just talking a lot for 3 days, 4 days, however long the conference is. Get straight to the point in your follow-up because you want to get on their calendar. Then you can have a long-winded conversation. As somebody who likes to talk, my conversations can get long-winded. So immediately you want to let them know whatever the conversation was. So for me, I'm expanding my speaker clientele list. I wanted to book my first retainer client. And the conversation that we had, we were going to get on a call to flush out the details for booking me as a speaker. This also works if you're a candidate. This is why I said, get the recruiter's email. Hello, it was great connecting with you, recruiter from said company. I would love to set up a follow-up call to understand the next steps in the recruiting process. Very simple. And then you give them a date, an action item. So I told this individual, please let me know what your availability looks like this week or the top of December. Remember, December to chat. Action item. So active listening, relatability, connection. You put that in the email, deepening the connection, building that rapport, and having that follow-up. So that's one example. So how do you maintain and build relationships? Remember, it's a ever recurring cycle. Will they be at the next conference? So you want to stay engaged. Keep in touch. If you are a conference goer or you plan to go to more conferences, reach back out to some of your connections, especially if you're still waiting on the opportunity to receive your next job, your next client, your next connection. You want to keep in touch with them and say, hey, I'm going to be in Philadelphia at Diversitech, and I noticed that your company is going to be a vendor at the conference during the expo hall. Will you be in attendance? It's that simple. Here's lock in. Everybody lean in. Also, if the person you connected with isn't there and another recruiter is going to be there in their place, now you connected with 2 recruiters internally because you followed up. I know it's so simple, but this is what people won't do, or you're not aware of, or you haven't received the strategies to know, wow, I can follow up with the person that I've connected with and say, hey, well, I will be there. Can you let John Doe know that I'm going to come up to your table? So now you don't have one opportunity. Now you got 2 feet in the door, and basically I'm almost in an interview because now I have 2 recruiters who know my name and who have my information. Next thing you want to do is offer value. Provide support or resources to your contacts to strengthen the relationships. I believe relationships are mutual. Here's why. Somebody in your friend group would love to be at conferences, but unfortunately cannot afford to be there. So what would it be, or what would it look like if you mentioned your friend's name to a recruiter because you weren't the best fit, but your friend who couldn't afford to be there, whose company didn't sponsor them, now we're maintaining and building relationships because you didn't just make it about you, but now you're adding to their pipeline, which is helping them, and it just allows them to remember you more. So you also want to make e-introductions. For me, it costs me nothing to make an e-introduction. That's why I always think about friends who could not afford or be in the opportunity. This is all in the follow up. Yes, Brenna Elise, don't overthink it. Real simple. So here is a real life example of me introducing 5 other speakers to an organization that were looking for speakers. So what I did was I said, thank you all for being open and willing to connect with people in my network who are looking for speakers. I'd like to introduce you to, and I introduced them to who the organization was. She's seeking individuals who are willing to donate their time. Now, sometimes speaking, you donate your time. Sometimes there's booked opportunities. So for recruiting, for candidates, you're looking for a job. Sometimes you are not the right candidate, but you know someone in your network who is. Why not refer them? Why not continue keeping that rapport to that recruiter? Because this recruiting cycle, there's not an opportunity for you. But the next cycle, the next quarter, there's an opportunity for you. And you've continued to build that relationship so they won't forget your name. The fact that it's so simple, but I've been making it more complicated for myself. I'm excited to follow up tomorrow. It's so simple, y'all. It's okay. You don't know what you don't know. And I'm just here to sprinkle little things that you don't know just so we all can be better. So what I did was I simply introduced them, and then I told them, if you're not able to participate, invite somebody from your network. It costs me nothing. My time, it doesn't cost me. I know people say time is money, but it literally, for me, it costs me nothing to introduce people who otherwise wouldn't have an opportunity or wouldn't have access to the room. Okay, here's some bonus tips. We're about to close out. Lock in. Okay, get your pen and paper. You have to track your follow-ups. You have to track your follow-ups. It's important because it helps you stay focused on who you followed up with, where you met them at, what conference you met them in, how many times you followed up, what position were they offering, what position did you apply for. You have to track your follow-ups. And I'm multitasking and reading. Miss Velma, she said, what if my other screen is freaking out right now, so I can't see that comment. Miss Velma, if you want to message that comment to me in my direct message in the chat, in the app, that would be amazing. The next thing you want to do is remember the return on your investment can be short-term or long-term. Here are the tangibles right now. This is how I track my metrics. This is how I track my follow-ups, job title. This is real. This is my actual live spreadsheet. Like I said, I'm not a gatekeeper. There have been plenty of opportunities that I felt like I didn't receive because people felt like there wasn't enough for all of us to eat. No, we're going to eat. We all about to eat right now. So the job title of the person that I spoke to, right? So in column A is the person's name. Like I said, I've not shared their name to honor the relationship. Their job title. Then I have a column for their company. And then I have 3 columns, D, E, and F, followed up once. This is your initial follow-up. As soon as the conference comes to an end, you follow up with them. Then I follow up twice. Then I have the 3rd follow-up in Q2, and I'll have specific strategies right before we close out on when you should follow up. And then next steps, right? It's different for everyone. The next steps, did I have a virtual call? Did I have an email exchange? Or in other rows, it's we booked an opportunity, right? So here is a example of a short-term kind of not opportunity, but in the short term, meaning they responded quickly. I shared my information. It was great meeting with you at this conference. Like I said, I'm a speaker looking to expand my retainer, my clientele list, looking for my first retainer client. They said it was great news. I'm glad you received so much success. At this time, we are not searching for speakers, but I will keep you in mind. So this is someone I won't reach out to again for the next 6 months from that conference date, because right now there's not any opportunities. So I made an educated decision to reach out to them again 6 months from November. So I'm coming up on that 6-month mark. Are we good? Everybody put in the chat if this is making sense, if we're following up. She said, what if the follow-up does not respond? Do you keep reaching out? That's a great question, and I'm going to get into that in the last 5 minutes. Brenna Ely said, yes, keep reaching out unless they give you a hard no or don't contact me anymore. So this is an example of, if you're a candidate, I'm sorry, right now, we're not recruiting right now, but we're here because we're building our pipeline. That's why you got to get their email. So in 3 months, at the top of the next quarter, or within 6 months, you reach out to them personally and say, hey, I just wanted to loop back around, send a polite nudge to see if there were opportunities that became available since the last time we spoke. This next opportunity, intangible, real life experience is how many emails I sent before I got booked for a 2026 opportunity. If you look at the date, it says November 30th of 2024. I had 8 11 total email exchanges. Out of 11 email exchanges, 8 of them were from me. 8 of them were from me. But let me tell you what, because of my persistence, following up, you don't know people's bandwidth. We're not the only candidates in the system. I'm not the only speaker that they're looking for. So I said, hey, just sending a polite nudge. I just want to check in. She had a career change and she was planning an expo. The expo I was trying to get booked for, she was planning it and she had a new career opportunity and apologized for the delay. They couldn't get me in for this year, but guess what? Your girl is getting confirmed for 2026. That is a long-term return on my investment from following up. 11 emails, you guys. 11 emails. 11 emails, I believe, is on the lower end. So that means you got to keep following up with these recruiters, keep following up with your connections until they say no. So here's the creme de la creme. How often should I follow up? Follow-up 1 should be within 24 hours of the event. You got to keep you on top of their mind. Got to keep it fresh. Even if they don't respond, you made the initial reach out. Remember, get out of the passenger seat. Drive your opportunity. We're driving fast and the furious. We can no longer afford to wait for other people to give us opportunity. Follow up 2, within 2 weeks of the event, unless you were given next steps. Remember, you follow up. Can I get on your calendar this week or the top of the next month? You wait to see what their response is. Then they may say, yes, absolutely. Here's my calendar. I've had people say, please connect with my assistant. Let's connect. And then you take the lead from there. Follow-up 3 is touch base at the beginning of the next quarter or the next recruiting cycle. 24 hours after the event is over, 2 weeks, unless given next steps, and then the top of the next quarter or the next recruiting cycle. Key takeaways: follow up until they say no. It's not personal. At least for me, as somebody, I take everything personally. Me and God, we working on that, but it's not personal. So follow up until they say no. Even if you don't get an answer, that lady, 11 emails, you guys. If I would have given up, I wouldn't have secured a long-term opportunity for a 2026 speaking engagement. If I would have given up because of silence, she was busy. So I give grace and I want you to be patient. Be patient with yourself. I know the job market is hard, but we have to remember we're not the only candidate in their pipeline. We're not the only one that they've connected with, that they're having conversations with. Take the lead. We're out of the passenger seat. We're in the driver's seat. We're taking our destiny back in our own hands. We're taking our opportunity back in our own hands. And I thank you all for sitting with me. I appreciate you all for this conversation. I really do hope you receive some gems. Now, this is what you're going to do. Follow up with your girl. Use the tools I just provided effective immediately, whether it's via email, LinkedIn, or my speaker website. So I am a full-time speaker. I am looking for new clients. I am here trying to build my clientele list. That is my business full-time. But it was an honor to share my tools on how I received 56 leads due to following my follow-up system. Thank you guys. See you guys in Philly. And when you see me, holler at your girl.